Hope everyone is having a lovely Memorial Day weekend. Thank you all so much for being here. I have quite a few people waiting and already 15 likes, so I really appreciate that. You guys are awesome. So I want to say hi to my panel. So we have Megan from the Noob Reviews. Thank you so much for being here, my dear. We have Salty Texas, who's been on you've been on like 3 streams, I think, with me so far. So yes,
yeah.
You just follow me around the streams.
I'm old. Nobody cares about me. Just get to the cool people. Yeah.
And then, of course, we have Johnny64 from Geeks and Gamers. Thank you so much for being here. I deeply, deeply appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. You're acting like I'm something special. I'm not. I'm on your channel, and that's exciting for me. So, yeah, I'm happy to be here.
I have a quick announcement to make, and I will make this again at the end because I know people will file in and filter out. Seeing as this is the last stream of this month, I made a promise to myself that for any donations that I make on this channel, I don't care how much it is, I will always donate 10% at the end of the month to a charity. And this month, I am going to do El Ranchitos de los Niños, which is a, if I can pull up the right window, why is it not showing? They are an organization here in Albuquerque. They keep severely abused kids out of the foster system.
Good.
These kids are only up for adoption, and they keep families together. So I have met the nuns who run this place. They are really doing God's work, and I love them. They send us Christmas ornaments every single year. So they're good people. I will drop the link in chat if anyone wants to check it out. But that's where donations from this month's streams, my Literary Soul Sisters and my Chill streams are going this month. So thank you guys for helping me out with that, because I really, that's tithing is I really believe in it, and I want to make sure I'm doing good with it, the good you guys are blessing me with. So anyways, yeah, that's just what I wanted to make an announcement for. That's not what I wanted. So how is everyone tonight? How are we doing? Sorry, I can't multitask and think at the same time. All right, there is the link to El Ranchitos de los Niños. So, okay, I'm going to say hi to the chat really fast. You'd think one day I would not be shaking like a leaf every time I start the stream.
It takes about 3 months. It's about 3 months.
For me, it'll be 3 years.
Yeah, you're still in an acceptable territory to just have a panic attack and freak out. Everybody understands. You're fine.
Yeah. I just thought that was Elijah's natural state. To be honest,
it is.
with you.
No, it is.
Okay.
It's been
we accept you the way you are.
And we accept you just the way you are.
Thank you. All right.
Most.
Okay, we have Hail the Lower here. Thank you. I think this is the first time you're here, so thank you for being here. We have Shieldwall. Thank you so much. You have always been here, and I deeply appreciate it. Cajun, you behave, sir.
No, don't behave. Don't behave. That's not why you're here.
I have something
don't
for
behave.
you and Cajun. If you start in on you know what, so just
you're gonna put a sundress on like we've been asking for 3 months. Is that what's gonna happen?
That's not happening.
What am I doing on the show?
If you drop a couple more dollars, maybe we'll get there.
So Alasia's a stripper now. Okay, that's how this works.
I'm just gonna say you're grifting
it's
like that.
Always the quiet ones.
We
it's
might have an
always
opening
the
at Geeks
quiet
and
ones.
Gamers. you know the hustle. So okay.
Wow.
Let me talk to Jeremy so we can get you
I
on board.
didn't say I would do it. I said that maybe that would happen.
Get you boys, get yourself a quiet one. They're wild. Alasia, she's wild.
Shush. All right, we have Roman of the Empire. Hey guys, gonna be lurking like a weirdo for a few, making dinner with the fam of the Empire. Go take care of your Empire family, Roman. We deeply appreciate the lurk. Hello, Arnett. Do you know this person?
Yes, it's
all right. Okay. My mom watches my streams too. Don't worry.
She usually doesn't watch most streams because I rage and I get angry and I let things slip that I probably shouldn't every once in a while. But I was like, Mom, this is going to be a wholesome one. We're going to talk about things we love. Okay, so you might want to tune in for this one. You'll actually like the people that I'm on the panel with. So
my mom watches all my streams too. So your children appreciate your support. So thank you so much for being here. Cosmo Ed, I think that this is the first time you've been here, so thank you so much for being here. The Thad that shouldn't be. Thank you for being here. Johnny, serious questions. Do you love sundresses? Yes or hell yes? All right, let's get this out of the way so we can move on with the stream. Johnny, do you know that there's this scientific thing about women in sundresses? This was news to me. Do you understand anything about this argument? And do you like women in sundresses?
I don't understand the argument. I had to look up sundress on my phone right now just to make sure I know the exact. Okay, they're exactly what I thought they were. Okay, so explain them to me.
What?
Like, why is there a whole thing around this? I don't understand. Like,
you're gonna need to show me your man card right now, buddy. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, dude.
Women look great in a lot of things. What's up with this
sundresses with cowboy boots?
All right, hold on.
I'm very Texan.
It's very Texan. I also grew up in California my entire life, so I didn't really see that.
Then you should know better than this. You should tell you how things are.
All right, you know what? So at one point, I'm gonna need you, Max, and Tugs on a stream, and we will have this debate out because I'm sure they'll go to town with that one. Max starts so much crap. I'm just now realizing this. He said something about sundresses, and he's like, I pray every time I see a woman in a sundress because it's like temptation. And like him and Tugs went off the walls with this. Him and Tugs are dangerous together. I'm a little worried about being with them in Texas.
Alasia, check your DMs. If you need us to cover, we will. So that's all I'm going to say.
To correct one.
But
okay.
Yeah. So.
All right. All right. Yes. Okay. I'll do that. All right. Well. All right. So, can you vamp for a second then?
I can, or you can just, if you want to just kick it to somebody to start talking about your subject,
that's true.
then that'll cover too.
We can also do that. So, okay, we're gonna lay these sundress debate to the side.
Oh darn! I had so many thoughts just ready to go.
I know.
Johnny, you're a breath of fresh air. All right. So, Fudgesicle. We're already being derailed. Okay, so tonight we are talking about the things we love. And let's start with you, Megan. I want to hear, what is the thing that made you a nerd? Like, what was your gateway drug? What was the thing that set you down the path of being a little nerdy? I would love to hear other people's stories because I certainly have mine.
Honestly, I didn't know what a nerd was. Like, let me just explain. I was homeschooled, and I was like in this very strict Baptist church household. So like, I had no idea about pop culture. Okay. I grew up on I Love Lucy and MASH and stuff. Like I didn't watch anything that was popular like in the 90s as a kid. Sure. Nothing. I would go on a random sleepover at a friend's house and I would see like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Sailor Moon or like something. And I'm like, oh, I really like that. But I had no idea about it. Would never see it again. I had no context. So like what I nerded out about was like books. We read books. So like I guess I didn't even know the term nerd really, to be honest. But like I loved getting lost in books. So for me it was like the Redwall series and Narnia and Lord of the Rings. And I know every time I watch your stuff, I'm like, Alasia and I.
Like, you are like one of the first people who's ever said they know what Redwall is. Like that is so rare to find someone who knows who Brian Jock is.
Make it into a graphic novel, like but
girl, there is one.
Artist.
There is one. Yeah, I will send you the link. It's a Target. I will.
Yes. Because I can just imagine the art for the Redwall series in my mind. Yes. No. So yeah. I didn't really know what a nerd was, and I didn't. Yeah. But I discovered later in life that it was okay to be nerdy, and get into nerdy things. Because for a while I was like, I'm an adult now. I can't like watch Sailor Moon and stuff like that. I'm not allowed to read comics. I have to be an adult, and I'm like, screw it. I can do what I want. I'm gonna go do it. So
good.
That's awesome.
Typical nerd journey, I guess, was like very, very late for me. Like in the last 2 years.
Well, you're doing a great job of it now, dear. You are so brave. Like I've always wanted to get into comics, and I've asked Max a few like, is this a good comic? And he's like, yes, go read it. And I'm like, I'll get there at one point. But like, you're doing something that I've always wanted to do, but like literally never had the bravery to do. So you're doing great on your nerd journey.
Thanks. I was so afraid to do it because I was like, there's so many people that know so much, and I was afraid I was gonna get like made fun of, or they'd be like, psh, you're a poser, you're this. But yeah, just wanted to do it anyway. It was scary. It's still
That's
scary.
really good though. But we need all these voices. There, I mean, every one of us here knows something and has a different appreciation of it. Could even be the same book or the same story or the same show that the other person doesn't have. And it doesn't matter if you have this exhaustive, in-depth, super, almost autistic understanding of a particular thing. It's whether or not you actually love it. And what's really important to me is that you don't want to change it because you need to see yourself in it. You can just appreciate it for what it is and enjoy it, and you revel in that. Now, there were some people who go into, I would say, incredibly admirable detail with a lot of the lore. I pride myself on a couple things like that, but I'm also a casual fan of a lot of things that other people go into their own autistic detail on, and it's like, as long as you love it and you don't, I mean, again, as long as no one is trying to change it, and they just are appreciating it, I think every voice should be heard that loves something, not just the really cool kids who know everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I like your takes, Megan, because I don't know comics either. And you're like, the Thing fought someone with red hair, and I'm like, I understood that. When Matt talks about comics, I'm like, dude, you got to bring this down a few notches. I don't know what you're talking about.
And then I'm like, I apologize for being such a girl because like I notice things that only a girl would notice, like all these girly things, and I'm like, sorry, I'm being a girl. I'm like, it's fine, I can be a girl. I'm a girl. Like,
I didn't know who you were. No disrespect intended. And Alasia sends me a link and says that we're going to be on a show together, and I'm like, all right, cool. And I watch your, I think it's episode 11 review of the comic book, and I could not stop smiling. And the reason why is because of your take. Your voice, the way you just said you approach these characters. And no, you are not a lore expert in any particular DC or Marvel comic character, but the fact that you enjoyed this story and pointed out what, to me, I would have never noticed, which is that the Flash's girlfriend was a bitch. And it's like, oh my God, she's right. I mean, you are adding to this fandom already. Can I just say that? So don't doubt yourself. Really.
I was thinking yesterday, because I was reading the next story, and I was thinking, this woman, he either needs to dump her or she needs to have a character arc and like grow and change or something, because it's bothering me. She's bothering me. She's just a minor supporting character, but like I'm stuck on her and her attitude.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's fun. I always think it's weird when like you like Alasia, you'll understand this. Somebody's never seen Lord of the Rings before, and it's like everybody wants to react like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, that's such a wrong approach. Because me, like, I get excited because I'm like, what? Like, you get to experience it the first time? Like, do you know what I'd give to watch that movie like it was the first time all over again? Like, I want that feeling again.
Yep.
And so it's like, that's one thing about like Megan's channel and just experiencing something brand new and being able to like, just cherish those moments and share those moments with people. That's what's fun about being a nerd, and it's like you're constantly sharing things with each other where it's like, oh, I'm just getting into anime really for the first time, and I'm constantly getting people, stuff recommended to me. And it took me a while to get used to like the art style and stuff. I did have like Dragon Ball Z for a while, but it wasn't like too much stuff other than that. And then I've just seen Death Note, and I'm still like buzzing about, how good that was, and lots of different stuff. So it's really fun. I think that's the coolest part of the nerd culture, is just sharing it and bringing other people in. And sometimes you're just too quick to just be like, oh, how could you not have seen that one? It's like, this is an opportunity, you can make a convert here.
And it's fun. It's fun for us. It's like, oh my gosh, I get to share my favorite thing with you. Like,
yes.
Sit down. We got some stuff to talk about. And it's so fun now. Like, me and Mando, I've never read the Unfinished Tales, and I have to say this. I like the Unfinished Tales better than I've liked the Silmarillion. The Unfinished Tales have been so much fun to read. I have loved every minute of it. I've got people coming out of the woodwork, and they're like, oh, it's so cool. You're getting to read this for the first time. I wish I was. And I was like, yeah, this is so much fun. So it's fun to be able to get to share with people, because my sister watched The Lord of the Rings like in December for the very first time. We're 10 years apart, and she's never understood my nerdiness. Like, she's always teased me about everything. And then she finally watched it, and she's like, okay, now I get it. This is really cool. And she's huge into like Dungeons and Dragons. And so, because when she got married, my brother-in-law was big D&D. And so she's like, I have so many like ideas for a quest now. And I was like, I have no idea what that means, but I'm really happy for you.
And she made fun of you?
I know.
Nerdy? Is there anything nerdier than Dungeons and Dragons?
Thank you. Thank you. As someone who played the 2nd edition rules and some of the 1st edition rules, you're a nerd if you play Dungeons and Dragons. Come on.
I love our G&G team and support the new tabletop channel that we have going, but I don't get it. I just I just see a bunch of people play pretend. I'm like, it's not for me. Like, there's certain sects of nerdom that I still don't get, and like one of them is like LARPing. I'm like, you could have paid, like, if you offered me $1,000, it'd be like, no, my pride's worth more than that. I'm not going to LARP. Like, there's just certain things I'm like, it's not for me, but I'm glad there's people who enjoy it,
I started watching that D&D channel like from the start because I have no idea about D&D. And I was just interested, and I definitely actually got into it because as they got going, it was like a storyline, and I was like, hey, what's going to happen next? Yeah.
Exactly.
It is definitely probably the most nerdy thing you could ever, I feel like you could ever see.
Did you guys ever get into where do they still make the choose your own adventure novels? Do you guys know what I'm talking about, or is that too deep of an 80s reference?
No, I know. I've seen them.
Yeah. Because that's essentially what Dungeons and Dragons is, only with dice, and you are not constrained by just the, usually a binary path of decision making.
Do you know that there's a Lord of the Rings version of that?
Yes,
and
I do.
It was pirated, and then Tolkien like brought the hammer down on them. And those books go for like $500 each, and they're like that big.
Yeah. Oh, I know. No, I know all about those, and I wish I had them. But
same here.
Yeah.
Let me read my donations really fast before we move on to what set Johnny on his path to nerddom. We have Salty Texas Sea for $5. Thank you so much. For the Sundress Fund, don't listen to Johnny.
Help me out, Chet. Get my back on this one. Come on. Come on.
No, leave Johnny alone. All right. Salty, guess what, guys? I finally got clips. So just Salty, this is for you.
I love that part. Awesome. That was awesome. Thank you.
And then we have Cajun Corey for $5. Just wanted to mention your favorite thing, Silkies. Thank you for that, Cajun. And this is for you. And I swear I will play that all night long if I have to.
Am I allowed to ask what exactly?
Yes. I don't feel so bad about the sundress thing now.
Am I allowed
this
to comment
is
what
why
it
you need
think
tugs.
about, or
You
no?
need tugs on this show. Next time.
Tugs is employed. Tugs is away.
I know,
but this stream's
we
too
need a
innocent
woman's
and wholesome.
perspective.
We need tugs in here. Is that what it is? He needs to spice things up. These are like four choices in here.
Tweeting Tabitha in here.
ally.
Well, no, I need another guy for Johnny. So, yes, that is my. And I swear to God, if you guys make this a thing in the chat, I will just keep playing that clip. Shout out to John, the blue collar guy, for making me that clip. He played it on his stream with McKenna, and I begged him to give me that clip. McKenna, they are booty shorts for boys. The Marine Corps.
In the Marine Corps. Yes. Okay. I know.
That's what silkies are. And I think they're women repellent. They're gross. But for Max's monetization stream, it was like a whole thing. And I don't want to talk about it because it was a whole thing. But yeah, it was
I lived near a Marine Corps base.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw a lot of that. And it's like something that I was like, oh, but you also can't tear your eyes away. It was bad. I don't know.
I've seen them up close, unfortunately, in a parking lot. And I texted McKenna and I was like, I want to bleach my eyes out. She's like, yep, that's how I feel.
Okay.
We had to wear those in the 80s as kids, by the way. We had to wear those in junior high and into high school. That was the standard length of shorts that you wore. It's a true story.
I'm glad I'm not that old then.
Same here.
Here you go. Yeah, never mind.
What?
Did your socks?
Nothing. I had something in my eyes. Okay, never mind. Yeah.
Did your socks go up to your Salty? Megan is asking you if your socks went up to your knees.
Mine didn't because I was a rebel, so I squinched them down, and then it came into style in the 90s, and so I was totally ahead of the curve. So yeah.
Okay. Sorry, lady. Sorry, big sis. That was for everyone to learn their lesson. So, you know what? Yell at the chat. Don't yell at me. If you don't want to see that clip, tell them not to bring up Silkies. That's all I have to say about that.
Check out your Stream Elements donations.
All right. I swear, Kate, salty. Salty for $1, Silkies forever. I was not joking. Never.
All I do is spread joy, and this is what happens. I
Yes.
don't understand. I don't understand.
Well, Kate, they're good for women. I've got what would probably be called Silkies on right now because it's so damn hot, but not on men. I'm sorry. I draw the line at men. Okay. Off this damn Silky topic. Thank you, Cajun, for derailing everything. Johnny, what made you a nerd? What set you on this path of just embracing all of that our section of the internet is?
It was my dad. Because my dad, I love my dad. He might be watching right now. I'm not sure, but he really did a good job with me and the rest of our family of getting really involved in whatever we really liked. Plus, he liked a lot of the stuff that I'm into now anyway. And so when I was born, he, already had the original Nintendo and the Super Nintendo. And so it's easy for me to get into video games. He was really into comic books and Marvel comics and that sort of thing. And so as new things within nerddom just got introduced, it was just like our thing and his thing. He used to play Yu-Gi-Oh cards with us. We duel each other. When the Harry Potter books came out, he would read them with us, and that was like a thing. We'd all sit in a room together, and he'd read it, and we'd all be like, "Oh, we like find out everything together." Except occasionally he'd get like so hooked in the story that he'd like read into the middle of the night by himself, and we'd all get mad at him because he got ahead of us.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was probably mostly my dad, and I'm so grateful for it because he gave me my love for basketball too. So it's like there's so much of like what shapes my life right now, and I love my life that I'm like, I got that from Pops. Thanks, Pops. So
right on, dude.
So
right on.
That's probably. I mean, that's the gist of it, really. Anime, he has nothing to do with that. So that's that's like one of the new things I've discovered. That's other people, but yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. Oh, that was all wholesome.
I mean, it's just an honest answer. I wasn't trying to.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's really cool. I mean, if I was ever blessed enough to have kids, I definitely, I've kept all my childhood books. I definitely have every intention of being like, you will never have a smartphone. Here's a book. Go read.
But that's what my brother's doing that with my 5.5-year-old niece. They got rid of their television as soon as she was born, and they wouldn't use their cell phones around her, and they only gave her books. And a lot of the same toys that you guys probably grew up with, but also especially from the 80s. And it wasn't until she was 5 that they put the TV in again. And they don't have cable. They will only watch movies. And as a consequence, she is so far ahead of her reading level, and she just loves books. And that's so important at that developmental stage to get kids into reading because it also helps their mind understand the importance of a 3-act play and also the 12 steps of a hero's journey,
Yeah. I think it was really cool too that like I've been noticing over like the last year how much my parents did a good job of getting me into their generation's entertainment. And like introducing stuff like basically slowly to me, not just what was relevant at the time, but like what they really appreciated and they enjoyed. Because like being my age, early 30s, like I'm like most people my age are huge prequel trilogy Star Wars fans, like huge prequel trilogy fans. And I'm like, I'm OT, baby. Like I'm all about the OT, but like that's not really my generation. But because, they really just immersed me in that, at an early age, I'm like, it feels like it's mine, And so I think they did a good job of that. And that's something I'll want to do if I have children one day. So I'll be like, listen, I know there's the Xbox 57s out, but we're going to start you off with the original Halo trilogy. And we'll go from there and we'll slowly work you up so you can appreciate all these different generations of gaming.
Right on, dude.
Right on. Yeah. So I'm grateful they did stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, and going back to what you said, Salty, when all the crazy hit and everyone was sent home, obviously kids as well. New Mexico just trades places with Mississippi every now and then. We're 50th in education in the nation. Like we are horrible when it comes to education. And this mom that I connected with on Twitter, she lives down south, and all 4 of her kids, she's like, we're gonna house on the prairie it up. I've got a chalkboard in the kitchen, and she's like, literally all I did was let my kids read. I just bought them any books they wanted, I would get them. And when they went back to school, they tested 3 grades above their grades because all she did is let them read. She's like, we didn't do math. So I guess they did sub math. She did like the homeschool thing of baking as the science class, but they just read. That's all they did was just read. And she's like 3 grades above. How insane is that? So yeah, it's so important that that kids get those books under their belt. Salty, what made you a nerd?
Oh, geez. Sorry, I was trying to work. I'm working your chat, and I wanted to say hello to a couple people. So,
is there anyone you want to point out?
Well, I want to say hey to Zach's brightest day, brother. It's great to see you. Of course, Abu Nas. Yep.
Oh, and good Abu Lord, Nas, I'm not accustomed to have so many people in chat. Thank you all for being here.
And then, of course, Doviende Se Tovius again, one of my channel members. Hail to you, brother. Great to see you. And if I missed anybody, it's not intentional. It's just I don't want to take over relations.
Yeah. So. Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you. If Abinas is here, thank you so much for being here.
Also, Dr. Rachel Lindbergh is in your chat as well. So
she is. Hi, Dr. Rachel. Thank you so much for being here, sweetheart. Yes, Abinas and I are working on something which I have failed miserably on my end because we've had a rough couple weeks with my grandmother. But Abinas has something coming down the pipeline, and I was blessed enough that door opened, and I'm helping him with it. So. Yeah, I'm really, really excited about this project. So I have a quick donation from Zach for $5. Thank you so much, Zach. Sorry I couldn't be there this week. Have a great show. No worries, Zach. You will be on in the future. So, okay. So he's got family. Salty, what turns you into a nerd? What nerdy things?
I've told this story before. I guess the simplest answer is the first time that I watched the original animated Hobbit movie by Rankin and Bass, and that came out in 1977 when I was 7, and it was I didn't know at the time, but this was really the first true cinematic depiction of any of the works of Tolkien. Before that, there had been radio dramas. There obviously was the books, but seeing this movie and then having the songs and I know there are a lot of people that harsh on the animation now because it doesn't look like anime or it doesn't, to me, growing up at that time, it seemed perfectly natural to look like that. And of course, then you also got the Bakshi films of the Lord of the Rings, all of the movies. But it was really the Hobbit, and then watching this little creature. When you're 7, you have no idea. You're not a Tolkien scholar. You're just interested in watching what's going on the screen. But you had dragons, you had wizards, you had orcs, you had trolls. It was incredible. And that led me down the road of discovering fantasy. And I picked up The Hobbit when I think I was 10 or 11 and went from there. And of course, progressed into David Eddings, of course, Robert Jordan, which is all my top shelf up there. Countless other things, The Forgotten Realms, Dragonlance Chronicles, and of course started playing Dungeons and Dragons in the 3rd grade. So if you've watched Stranger Things, at about that same, we did the same things. We sat around drinking Mountain Dew, having frozen pizzas, listening to Bryan Adams, and playing Dungeons and Dragons. And up until a certain point, and then played sports, had a girlfriend, and still played Dungeons and Dragons. So yeah.
That's awesome. The thad that shouldn't be. Oh wait, hold on. I saw a question. Hold on. Dovey is asking who the guests are. Yes, Dovey. This is Meg. No, other way. This is Megan from the Noob Reviews. Megan, why don't you shout out your channel and let people know what you do? Oh, you're muted, dear. It's okay. We all do it.
Sorry, my air conditioning's on and it's right out the door. Anyway, can you hear that, or do I need to?
No,
we don't hear it at all.
You're fine. You're good.
Me.
You're good.
My channel is the Noob Reviews, and right now I'm just reviewing comic books, mostly from the 60s, 70s, early 90s, and I'm just on this journey of discovery of comic books. So.
Nice.
It's where I've started, and I hope to explore more things like games and TV shows and stuff. Yeah.
Nice. And then Johnny, why don't you shout out your channel? Because you've got your two, so you've got your Twitch and your YouTube.
Yeah,
like totally different worlds.
They're all like totally different worlds. Yeah. So my Twitch channel is Johnny64. Apparently somebody took Johnny64 with 2 N's. So mine's with 3 N's on my Twitch channel. And yeah, I just play games with the Geeks and Gamers people, with just people who follow along, and been playing Fortnite, Smash Brothers. I'm a big Nintendo fan, obviously. So play a lot of those games and such. And then on my YouTube channel, Johnny64, I cover a lot of Nintendo news and a lot of Zelda, Metroid, all that sort of thing. So, and then my basketball channel, which is how I make my money, is Johnny Arnett. But that's sports stuff, and that's not really for the stream. So
yeah, you're fine. Again,
I pretend that one doesn't exist when I'm with these people. So yeah.
Well, it's cool you do it. Again, I maybe one day I'll actually watch that channel. I might learn something, although don't
worry about it. You're fine. You're fine.
I am not a sports person at all. So I will quickly say what turned me into a nerd. So as I said, New Mexico is 50th in education, and it also is not very good at helping kids with dyslexia. I was illiterate by the time I was in 3rd grade. I couldn't write. I have a distinct memory of not being able to write the word was. And my teacher at the time said that they were going to put me with the severely, I don't know how to say it without like saying the R word.
Developmentally delayed.
They were going to put me with those kids, and they were like, "Don't worry, it doesn't mean anything. It just means the school will get more money." Like, but my mom's like, "Are they going to help her?" And she's like, "Probably not." And so my mom yanked me and started. It was World War III, and she taught me how to read. And the very first thing I ever picked up without being bullied, bribed, or like begged was the Chronicles of Narnia. And I remember reading the Magician's Nephew and reading about the wood between worlds. And I was like, it's just limitless. Like all these pools lead to a different place, and I can read about all these different places. So my mom, I think, was crying the day I came in, and I didn't tell her because I knew she'd make a big deal out of it. But the day I came in and told her I was reading The Horse and His Boy, she like started crying. She was making dinner because that was the first time I picked anything up. So that's what turned me into a bookworm. You know, I'm not huge into movies. I'm not huge into TV shows. Like gaming, I can count on one hand the amount of games that I played, and I don't know what's possessed me to start a Twitch channel, but here we are. So but books and things. And I have 10 bookcases and counting, and most all of them are double stacked. So yeah, that was my journey into the nerdy world. I was teased mercilessly for it in high school. I mean, what kid wasn't for being a nerd? But I went to a private Christian school, and I actually convinced my pastor to have as our mandatory reading the Chronicles of Narnia. I was like, we have to read these books. And so he like, all the other kids were so mad at me. And then we started reading them, and they were like, oh, okay, this is good. So I was like, yeah, bunch of jerks. So yeah, that was my descent into all things nerdy. And I never looked back. So anyway, I was wondering if maybe I could ask you guys, what are some things that have flown under the radar that like not a whole lot of people know about that you think deserves more of a boost? Like, are there anything out there that you guys have discovered that not a whole lot of people know about?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Go for it. You look like you're ready.
Go.
I was waiting for you cats, man. It's like nobody cares what I think. Let's see.
You're on the panel, so
well, you know,
we care.
So I wasn't ready to answer my own question. Actually, there is a book called The Drawing of. Well, let's do this. If you have not read American Gods, and I'm not talking about what Amazon did to that story, which is thank you, Megan. Thank you. And I read that book at least twice a year. Of course, it's Neil Gaiman. It is an absolutely genius story. You have everything that I love, which you have the Norse, not just the North. I can say this word, the Norse pantheon, but you have the entire pantheon of gods all around the world through history that have a physical manifestation that are just out there, just beyond our perception. And there happens to be the main character by the name of Shadow, who just ends up sort of not realizing his entire life is being controlled and affected by all of these gods from Africa, gods from Russia, gods from the Norse pantheon, and he ends up going on an adventure with someone who might be Odin, and goes on a road trip committing crimes and all kinds of other things. And yet it has to do with kind of saving reality as we know it. It's a book I cannot recommend enough. While it's not obscure, it is one I strongly recommend. Don't watch anything on Amazon. Don't watch anything on Amazon that's an adaptation.
I want to say goodnight real quickly to Purple Valkyrie if you're still here, dear. Thank you so much for being here. We deeply appreciate it, all your support. So I hope you have a lovely rest of your night, day. I can't remember what time it is in Britain, but thank you for being here, dear.
Yeah, in your chat, you've got Roman of the Empire. He's a big American Gods reader too. Obviously, Gaiman did a bunch of books because that one was so successful. And one of them was Anansi Boys and other things like that. And it's true, but some people might like it. It's just that this was back before Gaiman went kind of woke crazy, like we're seeing with Sandman and the adaptation on Netflix. So it's a really, really fantastic book.
Cool.
Yeah.
Megan, have you found anything in your dive into comic books that like you've really like loved above anything else? And also I would love to hear like why comics? Like if you don't mind, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Like why did you choose comics?
I chose comics just because I have always been a big reader.
Okay.
So for me it felt like the safest way to like get into nerddom, if that makes sense, like through comics, because like reading is my safe place, and I'm not a gamer, and I also thought if I'm going to do a YouTube channel, the easiest thing to review and talk about would be comic books versus I've watched a TV show and how do I pull up clips and how do I do all of this technological stuff that I really, really suck at because I'm seriously challenged technologically. So yeah, that's why.
Okay, every time you say that you've had problems, I'm like, I feel so much better about myself. It makes me feel so much better. I'm like, okay, I'm not the only girl that's like deeply struggling.
There are a lot of content creators on here that would be more than happy to help you. They would. Just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, I'm jealous of your thumbnails now. You have great thumbnails. I'm just gonna say that.
It was JT,
isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, I actually had Lyndon. He messaged me on Twitter and he was like, "You're doing a good job, but maybe like do some of your fun thumbnails." And then Rogue Disney was like, "You're doing a good job. Maybe change your thumbnails." And I was like, "Okay, I think I need to do this."
Thumbnails are horrible. I'm paying
You're
for
really nice about it, but I was like, "Oh yeah, you're right."
More than one person is telling me I need to change my thumbnails. I think I need to change my thumbnails. Yeah, I'm paying for like Canva and I still haven't figured out how to use it. I'm like, just throw something together, and I need to stop doing that. But so
I'll show you what I'm using. I'll send you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So,
I use a free phone app for my big basketball channel, and it works great. Oh yeah. I don't want to put all my secrets out on the internet. I like to help those closest to me, so I'll tell you about it behind the scenes.
Sounds good.
Are you people in the chat that I like? You have questions? You can DM.
I do the same thing, Johnny. I do my thumbnails with an app on my phone. I also create all of my titles with an app on my phone.
Yeah.
Well, Canva is free, but like what I like about Canva, this is a rabbit trail, is that if you pay for like the $6 a month one, you can so say you take a picture of yourself, you can get rid of the background and it looks really nice. So you can do that. I just haven't had time to like sit there and mess with it. And also
I have a free website that does that online, so you don't even have to pay for it. So
all right. Yeah. See, the thing is, I don't ask questions because I refuse to ask questions because I refuse to ask for help because I just feel like I'm bothering people. So I would never like willingly go ask somebody for help.
Bother me, Alicia. Bother me.
All right. Okay, fine. I will bother you. Since I have your permission.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Like, I don't like, and I'm super stubborn and I'm a control freak. So I'm like, no, I'm going to do it myself.
You? Alicia? Really? Wow.
Yeah. Shocker. Who would have thought it? But Megan, like, so have you found anything in your deep dive in comics? Because I see your comic section and it seems like a lot of people are like, oh, this is so cool. Like you should try this comic. Have you found anything in this dive into comics that you really loved above anything else?
Yes. I actually found that I'm very drawn to French comics right now.
That's interesting.
Like, because actually Asterix and Obelix is a French comic. I don't know. A lot of people know about it. But
Oh,
that
yeah.
was honestly, I read those as a kid. They
Mhm.
had them at my library. They had like just a few graphic novels at my library, and I read those like cover to cover. And so I've been finding more. And then also I discovered Animal Castle, which is inspired by Animal Farm by George
Ooh.
Orwell.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And the art is beautiful. Like the art is so beautiful, and the storytelling is amazing. So yes, I'm very, very drawn to French comics right now. Oh, and Valerian. Valerian. It's a sci-fi fantasy comic. Very beautiful art as well. Star Wars was very inspired by Valerian, actually.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I feel like you and I are going to need to go shopping on Artist Alley and keep each other in check.
What is Artist Alley?
So at the comic expos, there's always a section that's set aside for just the artists. And you can spend your entire life savings in that one.
Woo!
Yeah. All right, Salty, you're sharing something. Let me so Johnny, is there anything like that you felt that's like always flown under the radar that not a whole lot of people know about that you'd like to like that you would love other people to know about?
Yeah, I mean, there's things I'm really enjoying right now at a time when, you know, a lot of entertainment kind of sucks because it's all like trying to either preach at you or, you know, or there's just people being hired for reasons other than their talent. So, I mean, Gary on Nerdrotic's channel, he used to be reacting to Better Call Saul episodes when his channel was really small. And I told him he's got to start doing that again because like the final season's out and it's so good. And it just shows that good writing is so good. All right. So this is my moment. You can wait, Alicia. It's so good. Like the writing's so incredible. It is like does kind of play out more slowly than Breaking Bad has. But it's a character-driven show, and everything that happens in it pretty much makes sense. And so from a TV perspective, I absolutely love that show. And I also like, you know, talking about on my channel, like a lot of retro gaming and stuff, and that big canvas behind me right over there. That's from the Metroid Prime games. That's Samus. She's the main character of those. And the Metroid Prime games might be my favorite video games of all time. And the atmosphere is gorgeous. The soundtrack is incredible. It's like scary, but it's like explorative as you're alone and isolated on these like creepy planets. And I love just like, I can't wait till the fourth game comes out because I always just lock myself in my house, turn the lights out, just make sure it's just me alone in this isolated experience. And it seriously feels like I'm on this planet in that suit. And it's just, it's so good. It's like, it might be my favorite video games of all time. So, yeah, if you like getting into retro gaming and that sort of thing, I would recommend picking it up. It's such a good experience.
Isn't that the first game that you streamed on your Twitch channel? Isn't that like, and you hurt your hand while you were doing it?
I think, well, I have problems with my wrist hurting all the time. So yeah, I was kind of having to spam the buttons a little bit, but I played one of there's Metroid games, the Metroid Prime games, and then there's the 2D Metroid. The 2D Metroid game I was playing is like a side scroller. And the ones I'm talking about are like a first person view where you're looking through the helmet experience of it, which to me is just even more immersive. Those are the games I'm talking about. So I haven't streamed that yet, but I am going to stream it soon on my Twitch channel, so you'll get to see.
That's awesome. That's awesome. The thought that shouldn't be, this probably is for you, Megan. There is an old French graphic novel from the early 80s called Carnival aux Mortals by Inky. I don't know how to say that. He made sequels to the comic, but most important, that guy got to do his own movie adaptation. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And Megan, get to know the Thad that shouldn't be. If you have any question on any lore, go to Thad.
He knows all.
Okay.
Matt is he's rare. He's a rare gift.
Yes,
really
he's constantly like
moderately annoying, but a rare gift. Yeah. I love you, Matt.
He's always sending me stuff on what am I trying to spit out? Twitter. And I'm just like, how do you know this stuff? Cappy, go to bed.
crazy. It's crazy.
That's exactly what I told him. I said, Kathy, go to bed.
Since Tex is not here to scream at him, we'll scream at him for her.
Yep.
Thank God somebody's speaking the truth. That's all I'm gonna say. So yeah.
Salty, you had shared something. Did you want to bring that back up?
Well, I was just pulling up some Valerian because I was familiar with it, but we can go ahead and share some of that, just because what Megan said is true. I mean, you can definitely see what I would consider to be some of the iconography within this comic book.
Nice.
And
cool.
just look at the intricacy of this artwork. Boy.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing.
That's like, and for me, I'm just not a huge comic person. Like the few DC comics books I found, like novelizations that I found, I have devoured them because they are so good. I just I'm like I paid $7 to be entertained for 15 minutes. Like this is annoying. So that's why I've never gotten into comics. I just love books, but man, oh man, do I just adore that artwork. Like there have been very few comics I have come across that I have not just like stood there and drooled over the comic book or the artwork itself, because my mom's an artist. I can't draw a stick figure. Like my gift is writing. That's what I do, is I'm a writer. So yeah, I appreciate comics for that aspect. I just wish
gotta
they were longer.
find the comics you like and then just get them in a graphic novel.
Yeah, I need the big ones. They're called what,
Yeah.
omnibuses or something?
Yes, the omnibuses.
Yeah, that's what because that's Max is
Which are not cheap. They're not cheap anymore.
It's
You used to be able to find them easier than you can now, and now they're just like, oh yeah, give us a couple $100. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'll stick to my books. It's expensive enough. So I'm going to bring this up because I brought it up on Zach's channel. Robin McKinley is a author that was writing in the 80s, and she was writing anything and everything. She's got a bunch of standalone novels. She's got 2 retellings of Beauty and the Beast. She's got a retelling of Robin Hood. She has a couple sci-fi books. She's got books about dragons. But this book, The Blue Sword, is it would be canceled so fast if it were written today. It's kind of like a retelling of the British Empire in India. And it's like right at the cusp of when magic is seeping out of the world. All of the dragons are dead. We no longer have unicorns. Like magic within people who can wield magic, they're slowly becoming less and less common. And this young woman from the homeland, which is Britain, she gets sent out to the furthest outpost of the empire and gets kidnapped by the leader of this tribal people. And whose noise is that?
Somebody may need to mute.
Okay, there we go. Oh, it's gone now. No, it doesn't matter. She gets kidnapped and she gets turned into basically the king's right-hand warrior. And she learns how to use a sword. She learns how to ride a horse, all these things. It's really glorious because it's so funny to now see what people think of as a strong woman, like Galadriel, for example, and to see how they're being these women are full-on feminists. I love so many female authors from the 80s. They are flaming feminists, but you read their books and I'm like, y'all aren't even middle of the road. You are right of center. You're so tame in your stories. She doesn't lose her femininity. She is still respectful. She still has to learn things. She's not a Mary Sue. She's what an actual strong female character should be. And she wields a sword, but she never loses her femininity, which I just adore. Mm-hmm. So Robin McKinley, I think, is one of the better writers from the 80s.
Yeah.
And just no one has ever heard of her, it seems like. So The Blue Sword is from 82, and I love this book.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
How did you feel about the Hero in the Crown?
It was okay. So that was published in 2000. It was all right. I just didn't have the charm of The Blue Sword. It was forgettable, which is unfortunate because that's where we established where the Blue Sword came from. Mm-hmm. And Erin, the main character, she's actually the woman who kills the last dragon that's in Earth. And she plays such an important role in The Blue Sword, but then when she went back and rewrote her story, I don't know, it wasn't as good. It was kind of like what happened with Mary Shelley's Merlin saga. The fourth book, everyone's like, don't read that book. Just read the first 3. Don't read her 4th book because she wrote it so far after the fact.
Yeah. I have another book recommendation since you brought that one up because it's very well aligned with that. Can I share that one? It's a real quick share. So you had talked about books from the 80s that potentially are overlooked, that we're looking at fantasy from the perspective of the world is losing the old age. The world is losing dragons. The world is losing magic. Well, here's another book. It's by Tim Powers, who is a fantastic author. Most of his works were done before I was ever into them, and I discovered them probably in the early aughts. And this is one of, I think, his best works. And this essentially is, or the reincarnation that it incorporates reincarnation of King Arthur and goes back to the very primitive English Isles. Anyway, this story ends up with the reincarnation of King Arthur with Merlin at Austria in Vienna, holding off the Ottoman Empire to save the entirety of Western civilization. Because if they don't, there will be no white wizards. There will only be black magic in the world. It's an absolutely fantastic, historically accurate tale that incorporates actual battles from the history around that time period in Eastern Europe and the Ottoman Empire. It's a really wonderful book.
That's cool. Yeah, you know what? I think you told me about that, and I think I was tired when you told me about it.
There's a lot of books. There's a lot of books to read.
There are. Yeah. Feminism used to be about the empowerment of women, and I'm still all about it. But at present, feminists are all about hating men. Yep, that's absolutely right, and that's why, like, you know, myself and McKenna wanted to have like the conversation we did, because I know last week was a much different stream than y'all are used to, but you know, I'm seeing it so often in fantasy. Fantasy is my genre. That's what I know best. And Lady Gravemaster and I, like, we were texting each other this morning and just being like, what is wrong with these people? And it's so discouraging to see like what feminism has turned into through books, because, you know, I told my mom, you know, when I was young and once I learned to read, she would just go to the bookstore and just buy me books. She didn't care what it was. That's how I found the Blue Sword. She's like, this cover looks pretty. I'm going to get this for her. Not knowing what the contents were, she just handed it to me. And if I were to do that today, I can't even fathom what I would be handing my child, because I have read some of those books and dear God, are they disturbing. It's not just that they're raunchy. It's not just that they're morally questionable. I mean, they're scary.
Yeah. You mean the ones that are freely available in public libraries, and if you don't want them read by 5-year-olds, then you're a bigot.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, it's not even that. It's like, there's one called Beyond the Veil, and it's so blatantly a diss on Christianity that it's scary. Yeah. Because it's like literally the veil rips in half. Like the whole premise of the story is the breaking of the old covenant. Like she like takes a dump on the new covenant. Like that's the whole premise of the book, is just dissing on Christianity. And it's like, I understand that Christianity, sorry, this is taking a turn. I understand that Christianity has been at the butt of everyone dissing on it since time began. But this was like at a whole other level of just being disturbing. So, yeah, I would very much encourage you, if you want to read like good, like feminist stuff, go back to the 80s. That's where I found like the Deeds of Poxenarian. She has no love interest. She's just a paladin, which I know is a big thing in D&D. I don't really understand what that is. It's just a good story, and I'm really enjoying it. Elizabeth Moon, I think, is a fantastic writer, and she knows how to write women. So, yeah, stay away from anything like past 2010. I can't recommend any of it. It's crap.
Yeah. And I think people are starting to figure out, you know, you just got to vet through this stuff more. Like, you got to pay attention to what your kids are listening to and watching and all that sort of thing. And so, yeah, it's just something we need to be aware of at this point.
Absolutely.
We did have strong independent women in our fantasy stories. This is the Dragonlance Chronicles. We had a lot of strong independent women who did wear armor and wielded battle axes and chopped off orcs' heads. But they were women. They were still feminine.
Right.
As opposed to third wave feminists, which now I guess can be men, which they hate, but they can't be, but they can be if they say they are. And it's like, you know what, you guys, you lost me. You lost me 30 years ago when I had to hear this stuff in college. That's all I'm going to say. So I'm out.
I hate that they like, also their love interests that they have them are those morally gray characters, which I will argue, I will die on this hill, but Loki is responsible for this turn to like deeply abusive love interests who are like, we'll kill anyone who even looks at you. And I'm like, that is not healthy. And if these young women are reading stuff like that, it's just, and so like that, we started complaining anyways. That was the whole point of this stream, is like to show people that you don't have to turn to what's being published or what's out there, or what's like in games. Like there's so many older stuff out there that is so good that you don't have to go to Nobles and get the newest book off the shelf. You can go to thrift books, you can go to eBay and get better stuff.
I think the question is, if we look back in any society or civilization, whether it's current day or going back to ancient times, when was that civilization healthy? When was that civilization at peace? When was there the most upward prosperity within that civilization? And I'm looking at what's going on around in a sociological way right now, and I am not seeing anything resembling an upward trend in anything. And I'm not saying the 80s were perfect. I'm not saying the 90s or the early aughts were perfect, but what we got going on right now culturally, where does it go after this? Once they've deconstructed Tolkien, once they've destroyed all of these Western canon iconic things, and like you've talked about, Alasia, where they're taking Jane Austen, they're deconstructing Jane Austen, they're rewriting the history of Western canon and the races and the sexuality of all of these authors for no other reason, so that they can see themselves in it. What happens to the next generation? What are they going to do with that mutilated non-history, that replacement of history?
Well, hopefully it'll be the surge of the independent creators. And I'm just seeing more and more people who are just stepping up and who have interest in writing, who have interest in screenwriting. And even like with places like with the Daily Wire, it's like they're getting involved, and probably years ago they wouldn't have even thought about getting involved because there's a need for it, and people are stepping up, and they're anybody who follows young Ripa in the Ripaverse, I can't wait, because I will be picking up his comic books so fast, because we need good writing for the sake of good writing, good storytelling.
We also, and you everybody knows what's going on with Ripa, he's getting a little too close to that goal. I hope everybody's paying attention to this. This is a rigged playing field, and one thing they do not want is for us to step away from their paradigm, and we are, and they know we are, and they can't stop it. So I hope Ripa gets this stuff resolved, because I can't wait for the Ripaverse.
I can't either. Again, I know nothing about comics, but by God, I'm buying that one. I will be reading it. Johnny, how are you doing on time? Do you need to head out, or?
I do need to get going, but yeah, thank you so much for having me on here. It's fun to just talk about stuff that I love. Now I'm going to a less wholesome stream where I will be much angrier playing Mario Kart, but it was awesome doing this. I'd love to do it again sometime where I can give you the entire night, So.
Yeah, absolutely. Just so you, Max and I actually are going to be switching streaming times, because he's starting graduate school and all his classes are on Monday nights. So I'm actually going to be switching to Monday, and he's taking the Sunday slot. So, so yeah, definitely. I would love to have you back on, especially if we have like a solid Lord of the Rings talk. Yes. I would adore to have you back on. I think that we definitely need to have that talk, and we need to talk about what we love about Lord of the Rings. We don't just need to bitch about the Rings of Power. So thank you so much for being here. True. I really appreciate it.
All right, it was good to meet all of you, and I'll see you guys around.
Bye, darling.
Bye.
Mando, hello, my darling.
I arrived. Hello. Wrong one.
We have Trouble herself here. All right. Huge shout out to Johnny for being here. Guys, please don't go subscribe to his YouTube and Twitch channel. He is an awesome, awesome guy, and a good man in this fellowship. Chat, you have been so good tonight. I was a little more nervous than usual. I'm not going to hide that fact. So I have been seeing you guys. You guys have been on fire. You guys are amazing. I deeply appreciate you guys being here. And I've been seeing you dropping suggestions in the chat. So definitely going to take all your suggestions into consideration. Real quickly, this might be of interest to you in terms of literary history. The concept of the paladin comes from the Corlegian cycle. It is rooted in the legends of Charlemagne's court. No way! I did not know that. That is cool.
This is why we love the That Shouldn't Be.
Yes, that's amazing. That's so cool. I've got like this. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Ever since I read The Discovery of Witches, which I think like it was published in
the early aughts or the mid aughts, and I actually liked the first book quite a bit. I liked the first book quite a bit. I did.
Yeah. See, the second book is my favorite. Ever since I read them, I liked French history before, but now I'm like, I just will read random things about France. So I'm definitely gonna go have to read about Charlemagne now because that's really cool. I did not know that. So,
which version of his story? Because there's like 5.
Oh, I know. I'll get all of them.
Wait, why are you reading his story? Why aren't you reading her story?
Her story?
Because her story would end up being all of the females of the world would just rip each other's hair out and like claw at each other's eyes. So
you ruined the surprise. Come on.
Oh, sorry.
Spoilers. Say spoilers. Come on.
All right, real quickly. So Mando, this is Megan, other way from the New Reviews. Megan, this is Untamed Mando. She's my co-host on Literary Soul Sisters. So yeah, she is my partner in crime. So my dear, how are you this morning? Jeez. Throwback Saturday.
It's still kind of light outside, so it could be mistaken for morning, evening.
How are you this evening?
I am doing well. I just recorded another review for my channel that I have not done in a long time. I was doing Witcher reviews, but I got lost on one of the episodes and just kind of gave up for a bit. But now I'm going to do it again.
Nice. Congratulations. I'm happy to hear that. So you have been listening to our conversation. I would like to know what sent you down your nerdy journey.
So I think I told you guys the story once before on a chill stream, but I kind of got into nerddom, fandom very early on, like even before I remember. And my gateway to fandom was Spider-Man. Whenever I was very little, Megan, I don't think you've heard the story, but when I was very, very little, I was primarily raised by my grandma, and I would be watching Spider-Man cartoons, and I called my grandma Aunt May. She had no idea who the heck that was. She's like, no, I'm grandma. Like, who is this Aunt May? Because none of my aunts are Aunt May. Like, I have an Aunt Max, but no Aunt May. So, like, yeah, I started out very, very young as far as the nerddom. But from that point on, like, I was really big into anime, like Dragon Ball Z, Inuyasha, for those of you older anime fans, Sailor Moon. Gosh, a lot of the older anime, like Transformers. I don't know if that's considered anime still. I consider it anime, but Gundam, all of those. Like, I've kind of more like my fandom is just all encompassing. Yes, radio, Inuyasha. Yes, wow. Nobody knows what that is hardly. I'm so sad. It was so good.
That's awesome. I feel like I need to get back into anime. I watched Sailor Moon when I was younger. I watched it like, I don't know, middle school maybe. And it was part of that whole thing of my parents just like being desperate to get me to read anything. So I liked the show. So my grandma found me, the little ones. Oh. I don't think I have them anymore, and I'm really sad about that.
Those probably be worth quite a bit of money.
I know, and I'm super salty about it. But yeah, I need to get back into that. I don't know if I'm gonna go down the full anime like rabbit hole. I don't know if I'm prepared for that yet because I also have way too many books I need to read. But I wouldn't mind getting back to Sailor Moon. I need to watch Gundam. One of my favorite animes is The Rising of the Shield Hero. Yeah, I know not what you guys are talking about, but I am so happy you all are so like excited about it. So what is one thing, Mando, excuse me, that you feel like has flown under the radar that not enough people would know about? Is it this thing that Rady is talking about?
Inuyasha. That is one thing for sure that I don't think it gets enough love. Like, for those of you quote unquote normies when it comes to anime and manga, like, it's not as big as Bleach or Naruto or One Piece or any of those, but it's so much better because there's an actual freaking plot. Okay, it's not just explosions and all these people doing these things. It's actually got a freaking plot, and it's amazing. It's got this love triangle where you're like, I want the person to be with this chick, but I also want him to be with this chick, and it's just like, but there is sword fighting and there are explosions for guys and stuff.
You almost lost me there until you brought it right back with the explosions. Okay.
Yes. There's like tons of sword fighting. There's demons. There's people whose heads get chopped off. It's got all of it. But if we want to go to non-manga / anime, one of my favorite book series that I read whenever I was a teenager it's called the Alex Rider series. It's like James Bond for teenagers. Like, it's a teenage boy. He gets recruited into MI6, and it's just all of his adventures of he's in high school, but he's also a spy for the British intelligence agency. That was one of my favorite series growing up, and I've never known anyone else that knows about that series. And it was written by James Patterson. And he's a famous young adult author.
A lot of books. It's also apparently been made into an adaptation, a television adaptation. Is it any good?
I have not watched it, but I watched like a clip, and it was just like, meh, it's about your average adaptation for anything on a book. It's like, the people have the same name. Okay.
It's on a streamer called Freevee, which is not a good sign, but it does look like a cool young adult book series.
Cool.
Yeah, like I loved the books. I don't think I've ever gotten to finish the last few books because I could never find them in my library. But man, if you just like spy novels, and even though it's like for technically young adults, like it's got some more adult themes in it. But I mean, because he's a secret agent, he's a spy, so of course it's gonna, even though he's a kid, but yeah, man, like that was one of my favorite book series as a teenager, and like almost nobody I know knows about it.
Hail to Fluffy Cajun, who says Amazon actually has the Alex Rider series. That's awesome.
Cool. That's awesome.
I shall have to look into this.
You know what's a good young adult series that I still even enjoy now? They are called. So there's the Dear America series, and then there's the Royal Diary series, and they are, girl, where are you been all my life?
And there's like Dear Canada, and there's
there's the Polish girl, and then there's like the girl from like the Inuits, and they're so good.
God, this is chick stuff in a big way.
No, okay. So there was the Dear America, which was all about girls, but then there was like the counterpart to that which was all about young men, and I can't remember for the life of me what they were called, but it was like the one that I remember seeing was about it was young men who were like fought in World War I, fought in World War II, and it's their diary, like they're written in the form of a diary, and I mean, I looked up later in life, they're not that historically accurate, which to me as a historian that makes a difference, but
I found a list of all the boy books, which is fascinating.
Okay. Yeah. So
that's what I pulled up. Yeah.
Yeah. These, and I never read any of the boys' books, but the girls' books were so good, and I'm so glad I kept all of them because some of them sell for a pretty penny now. But the Royal Diary series were so good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and
wow.
Yeah, and they deal with heavy topics. Like the girl from Poland, she's 13. She was I kid you not. These were written for like 8-year-olds, and like it was like 8 to like 12.
Yeah.
The girl from Poland was 13. She was a mail order bride from Poland, and she was married to a 35-year-old.
That's because it happened.
It happened.
Whether we like it or not.
Yep.
All these things happened, and a lot of people made a lot of sacrifices, so we can get to the point where we erase the history that includes what they did to make those sacrifices. I just want to point that out.
Yeah. And that's what I loved about them. Like the one about Catherine the Great, like showed just how horrible everyone in her circle was as she was growing up. Now, again, they play with the history. I'm not saying that they're like spot on historically accurate, but like the one about Pocahontas, they don't beat around the bush. And these are written for little girls. But like that, when I got to college, being in a private Christian school, I wasn't probably as shocked as I could have been if I hadn't like at least known that stuff like that happened. So, I think for me, like also like looking at what currently is being published, it's like, and I've talked about this, is that we have coddled people to the point of where like a bug getting squished is traumatizing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I have told this story too many times, but when I was in college 30 years ago, when it was PC culture, a lot of the same people that I went to school with are now professors. And I chose to not go into academia for very good reasons, and I never have regretted that decision at all. But now we're seeing the fruits of their wackadoodle commie, just hate America labor. There's really no other way to put it, guys. And when you take away the need to develop a generation's resilience and take away their history, then you have people who are one step away from being dependent or slaves. So I'm just gonna park that right there.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's crazy how we got to the point that we are as far as like PC culture, cancel culture is, because like after the fall of the Red Curtain and stuff, where did all of the commies go? They went into the United States education system.
Well, it's true, and here's the thing: I don't want people to lose heart because I make comments like that. The fact is that they are 0.00% of the population, but somebody's spending a lot of money to make it seem like we are hopelessly outnumbered, and we are not.
No,
this is not even close. But like we're seeing with Netflix and Disney, when you starve the beast, when you starve the marketing arm of whomever might want this to all be happening, it actually does start to have a tangible physical effect. It really does. And the better a corporation's ESG score is, the worse it is for us. Just gonna say that. So
yeah. This is like throwing a wrench in things. I just realized I spent all days making these clips and I didn't give Zach's one, so I'm proud of myself figuring out how to do this, so I'm gonna do it. Thank you very much.
England is under threat of invasion. And though we be on the far side of the world, this ship is our home. This ship is England.
One of Russell Crowe's greatest films, in my very humble opinion. I can watch that movie on repeat. There's not a single woman in it. I love it. And I do not want the sequel. I have heard that there is a sequel in the works, and I am so salty about it because no, we do not need a sequel to Master and Commander. The one movie was enough. It
just
lost
like how The Matrix only has one movie, right?
And Aliens only has two.
I've never seen Aliens, but I'll take your word for it. Let me catch up on the chat. I feel like I haven't had this many people in my live stream since my very first night, and I'm really neglecting people. So let me catch up a little bit. A Troubled Green. True, I used to work for a guy who got super mad one night because he thought he may have run a cat. May have run of the what?
He may have ran over a cat.
Was I talking about? Wait, what? I
think this has
talking about how
sensitive. Yeah. People being sensitive.
So sensitive.
Well, I mean, I saw what Data Racer put together about the Kenobi, and like I guess they have footage from Order 66, and everyone all of Twitter was triggered. I was like, oh my gosh, people, come on.
Yeah. It's like they never, these quote unquote Star Wars fans, prequel fans, quote unquote, are like, Order 66, oh my God, children. It's like,
wow. Real life consequences.
For the past however many years since Revenge of the Sith was made.
Yeah, real life consequences to trusting into a corrupt dictator who takes away your democracy. Boy, that sure shouldn't be shown, should it?
No kidding. Yep.
God.
So everyone lost their freaking minds over, and I haven't seen this. I promised Tugs I'm going to watch it, and I will at some point when I have time. But these freaks on Twitter just lost their everlasting mind about that scene, and everyone was like, "Did you not watch Revenge of the Sith?" And how deeply disturbing that is. And the thing is I want to ask is, did you read the book? Because the minute that Obi-Wan and Yoda walk into the temple, it's disturbing, how well they captured how upset Obi-Wan was. Revenge of the Sith is a hard novel to read, just simply because of, I can't remember the author's name right off the top of my head, but
I thought it was Alan Dean Foster again. I thought he did.
No, it's not Foster. It's
Are you sure?
Let me hold on.
I'll look. I'll look.
Right,
you do your show.
So anyways, so yeah, just these people just lost it over this scene, and everyone, and it's so funny that these are the very people that Disney's catering to.
Right? They have no idea what Star Wars is, and they're like, oh, well, the original trilogy's problematic, and so we need to change things. It's like, you didn't even watch the original you didn't watch the prequels. You weren't one of the people defending the prequels while everyone else was bullying you. I remember you bullies.
I know.
Did you one of these days?
did they have a problem when Alderaan, an entire world, was blown up in Star Wars? It was Matt Stover, by the way. Matt Stover wrote the adaptation to Revenge of the Sith.
And according to OG Star Wars, whom I deeply trust her understanding of lore, is he actually went on set, and George Lucas, and he had a long talk with George Lucas about Revenge of the Sith before the novelization got written. So she said that is why it's so spot on and so deeply disturbing. Revenge of the Sith is a hard book to read. But yeah, Megan, do you have any how are you into the Star Wars fandom at all? I actually haven't heard you really talk about it. What do you know of Star Wars?
Not a lot. I've watched the movies. So I've watched the 6 movies, but that's about it. And that's kind of where my interest ends, just because of what I've heard. And honestly,
the sequels do not exist. They are not canon.
Good move. Very good move.
I have always been an EU fan, and that is all the canon I will ever need.
Yeah.
Or anyone, for that matter. You should read the EU books. They are amazing.
You have Vardardiana in chat who says, good evening, everyone just joined. It's insane reaction to Order 66. It's only been known for 17 years.
Hey, say her name again, because me and Mando cannot say it right.
I'd say Vardardiana. That's what I would do.
Vardardiana. I'm still going to say it wrong, but I'm going to try harder this time.
I know.
If I can say Doviende se Tovius again, you guys can say Vardanya. So,
it's one of the trees on the island of Numenor, and then I was like, well, my Tolkien card was just revoked because I can't say this.
That's okay. I still sometimes screw up the Silmarillion, so
you screw it up all the time.
Shut up! No, I don't.
Silmarillion. They're called the Silmarils.
# stop salty hate. That's all I'm going to
say. You forgot the beginning where Captain Aubrey has a dalliance with the Admiral's wife. Well, that's true. That's in the books. Is that book 1? I've only read book 1 and half of book 2, but he had a very scandal. And I think is that who he's writing on his desk when he's on his desk?
Ooh, I thought you said riding or writing?
Writing. He's writing desk.
Your pronunciation is important.
Sorry.
He has a picture, and Audrey did get married, and Master and Commander: The Far Side of the World is book 8, I think. Yeah, I think it's book 8, and I do believe he was either courting or married at that point. Sorry, I love those books. I'm not a naval historian. I know nothing about the War of 1812. I know nothing about the Napoleonic Wars. I just love those books, and I love that movie. Go watch Master and Commander if you haven't. It's really good. I saw someone else. I grew up on the prequels, and I thought they were good, just not as the original trilogy, but not the disaster people claimed until they saw the Disney trilogy. Yeah. And I think that's what's important to keep in mind. And Megan, if you girl, if you do if you ever commit to reading any of the Star Wars comics, I will be there with you, because I've always wanted to do that. It's
Star Wars comics?
Yes. So there's
I've reviewed the first two, the very, very first.
Have
two,
you?
The first
I
five
missed them.
Follow the original, right? And then after that, they kind of go off and do their own thing. So I haven't. I've read the first 2, number 1 and 2.
When the original Star Wars came out, there was a huge oversized comic book of it on pulp paper, where they did. It has a special place in my heart, but it wasn't the best art that's ever been done. Let's be honest about it. But there's this. If you can ever find it on eBay, it would be a great thing to have. And you can get a beat up one for not a lot of money, but I think you'd enjoy that one. I think you really would.
Yeah, no, I wanted, the Old Republic is, so the prequels, so Johnny and I actually had this discussion on his Twitch channel, and I meant to bring it up and I totally spaced it, but I was never one of those kids who like hated on the prequels. I actually would get into fights with it about my mom because I loved the prequels. So like I grew up on the original trilogy. Don't get me wrong. I love Han, love Luke, love Leia. I love the originals. But it was actually this book that made me a Star Wars fan because, again, my parents were just so desperate to get me to read anything. These are young adult readers. They're like for, I'd say like 6th grade, but there are 18 of these books. And I'm going to say this now. These books are no longer in print. They're by Jude Watson, Other Way. And if you guys see these at a thrift shop, you need to get them because this whole 18 book set now goes for like $300 because they're just out of print. So if you go to a bookstore and you see any of these and the Jedi Quest books, you need to get them. But they're like the moment. So this is when Qui-Gon chooses Obi-Wan to be his apprentice, and then they go right up to the Phantom Menace. Those are what this is what turned me into a Star Wars fan. It wasn't the movies. It was these books because I like everyone says, oh, I grew up with Harry Potter. I read the first book and I grew up with Harry Potter. I grew up with Obi-Wan. Like no joke. I grew up with these books. The Obi-Wan is like my guy from Star Wars. So these are some of I think the best books from the EU out there. I adore them to no end.
You raise a really good point, Alasia, and it's one that I think we need to start talking about more in our fandom, which is buying older physical media. If you can find it, get it. And I talk about Wheel of Time all the time because the Wheel of Time graphic novels, you used to be able to get them fairly reasonably. You can still get the first one, but you're probably looking at $50 for a beat-up copy. After that, you're looking at $600 to $1,000.
Good Lord.
For a physical copy of the original Wheel of Time. And that is not a reflection of Amazon's success in the adaptation. It is a reflection of Amazon's failure in the adaptation. So, and that's right. There's no way Disney's going to renew those books.
No.
There's no way there's going to be.
These were out of
all the demand of the world.
These were out of print not long after she stopped writing them. I don't know why Lucasfilms, I don't know why George Lucas stopped having these printed, but they were in the 90s, and then for whatever reason they just stopped printing them, and I find that deeply sad because these are really good books for little kids. Because again, they deal with some heavy topics. Like there are some heavy topics in here that they don't shy away from.
But that's what they did to teenagers. That's why you were a teenager, because you were no longer a child and you had to deal with some of these situations. And the best way was to deal with it in a fictional setting and to watch, this is what a good person would do. This is what a bad decision is. This is the consequence of a bad decision. And yeah, some of it was traumatic, but you know what you did? You didn't have to make that experience in your real life. You could read about it. And now we've protected, much to the detriment of Western civilization, if I may editorialize, people from having a harmful experience which could cause them distress. Well, let me tell you about life. Life is a series of distressing occurrences, and you have to overcome them. And here's the thing: there are generations that came before me who had it a hell of a lot worse, and it wasn't about their feelings being hurt. You know, I'm not saying we need to turn into some hyper whatever, but what we need to do is also honor the fact that being a human being is not an easy endeavor, and you need the more advice and guidance and mentoring and positive role models you can have, especially represented in adolescent fiction, the better. But what do I know? I'm Gen X and I'm jaded about everything. So,
in my opinion, Gen X is probably one of the better generations.
Well, we'll be the only one firing if this country ever gets invaded. Everybody else with pronouns and changing their gender will be the only ones.
I am technically on some level or some measurements like
spectrum?
millennial, because I'm like 92, and some people put the cutoff date for Gen X like right at like 93, 94, but most of course cut it off back. I was raised by like my cousins are all Gen X. I was like one of the youngest of my mom's the youngest, so like she had me late, but all of my cousins were like Gen X, and I'm just like, y'all are pretty cool people. So
yeah, sorry, Alasia, it's your call if you want to. I just thought you might find that interesting. So I agree with you, Mando. Absolutely. And I'm not saying my generation is flawed. It's because, let's be honest, they're the morons who are the professors right now preaching all this stuff. It's just the problem with them is that they were the upper middle class kids from Manhattan and Queens, and I know these people.
Yeah.
And they were the ones that told me about my white privilege as a kid growing up on welfare, coming from a factory town in the middle of nowhere. But
Yep.
they were driving the used BMW coming to
Yeah.
college.
Well,
Funny how
and
that
like
works, right?
And like my family were sharecroppers. We lived one of these days I will show that we lived. My grandmother was born in a half dugout here in New Mexico. It's called Pie Town, New Mexico. It was probably the room, if like I cut off like this section of my desk space back to the wall, that's where 7 kids slept in the freezing cold of New Mexico.
That's how it was back then, though. That's
what you did.
Was normal.
And if you lost a kid, you had another one.
Yeah.
I mean, this was the way the world was. I'm not saying it's good or bad.
My great grandmother, when they moved to New Mexico, my grandmother's second sister, I think, I can't keep all the kids straight. She put the baby in between her 2 biggest sons and was like, keep her warm. And she literally did not know if she'd make it through the night.
Yeah.
She just didn't.
Yeah. And now if they get the soy latte extra double pump wrong, it's a meltdown. It is an absolute meltdown.
Well, Megan, I want to ask you, because I found a Conan book and I'm going to read it because I just want to see what the fuss is about. Yeah, let me show you. So this is going to be one of the reviews on my channel. So this is the Conan book I found. Yeah. So I want to know
Robert Jordan.
What you think, like, because you said you grew up in kind of like a sheltered home, like you weren't, you didn't know all the things that a lot of kids grow up knowing. Like going back and reading something like Conan now, like what do you think about it? Like, is it as terrible? I mean, is it horribly misogynistic, or is it just a fun time?
So I read the Conan comics, and what I like the comics actually. And actually, I found that Conan grew on me because I found him, even though he's kind of like caveman type guy, he also was very honorable in how he fought his foes.
Thank you.
He would not, like, they had to be armed as well. If they dropped their sword, he would wait till they picked it up. Like, he was actually very honorable in how he fought. And so I was like, oh, here's some like actual, weirdly enough, in a caveman comic, like we have some masculinity, and it's very admirable actually. So
most of it is to the contrary of what everybody's been told. But then again, I'm a boy, so the fact that shouldn't be, and the fact that shouldn't be is right. I mean, Conan the Victorious is freaking awesome. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, excuse me. I'm looking forward to reading it. I also found some books at my local thrift shop. They're by Tanith Lee, and I read some of her young adult Sanathy. Do you know who Tanith Lee is?
I do. Tell me more.
Okay, hold on. Vamp for a second. I'm going to go get these books then, since you know who she is. Hold on. I'll be right back.
Oh, while she's gone, I'm gonna derail this whole stream. I am bringing out the pipe. Bringing out the pipe.
Oh,
Hashtag Silky Lives Matter. She can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I was asked to do that earlier. Of course, when Elijah visits me in my place of my home, I work for a clothing boutique, and I'm gonna make sure she gets a sundress.
Thank God.
I have dresses. I just don't wear them.
Dang it, she came back.
I sit here and I sweat profusely. I will wear. Okay, how about
you get some nice airflow in some sundresses.
That's true. Well, some of it. I sweat like a sinner in church. How about this? I will wear. Oh, never mind. I'm not gonna say that. Never mind. All right, Salty. Look, these are the ones I found. So I found this.
What did you get? Oh yeah. Because I knew draft. Yeah, go ahead. Show me. Yep.
Yeah. So there's the first book, and I'm super sad. The second book, I got a different cover, so it doesn't match. But whatever. But yeah, like I read some of Tanith Lee's young adult sci-fi when I was young, and then I stumbled across these at my thrift shop, and I was like, I have to get these.
I think her first children's book was Dragon's Lair something, and it came out about the time I was born, and then she started doing adult books too. But Tanith Lee was one of those B tier fantasy writers when I was an adolescent. You knew of the books, but obviously Tolkien was top tier. And again, I'm a boy, so I went more toward boy stories. But yeah, Tanith Lee, I would put in the same place almost as I got to look behind me.
Okay, hold on.
Terry Brooks. I'd say Terry Brooks and Tanith Lee are probably, in my opinion, in the same level.
Nice. Okay. All right. Since I'm gonna do a refresher here, since Cajun is being a turd.
Stop the sundress hate.
It's not Cajun's fault. Just as soon as you left, I brought up the Sookies.
Girl, I will beat you out of here.
I thought I was in trouble. I thought I was in trouble last night on Snowdub's show with all those crazy adult R-themed puppets. No, this is a weirder stream than that one that last night, where I wouldn't say Culture Casino was drunk, but Culture Casino was not himself, and we went into about 2 hours. It got real weird. This is even weirder right now on Alaja's stream. So let's be really
Megan,
honest
this
about
is
it.
why I brought onto channels and streams is to bring
chaos.
Yes, I am the chaos bringer. Because
I'm glad A2 has got my back, my girl. Mando was speaking in tons of unholiness. Thank you for being a tattletale, first of all. And
KJ, why'd you have to go and tell me? A2! Dang it, A2, why you tattle on me?
I'm not a turd. I'm not the only one, and I didn't start it.
Wait a minute. We're talking about the trial again? Okay. You guys got to let me know when we're segueing topics.
Trial? What trial?
The one with
the turd and depth thing.
Oh, that. Okay, yeah. Megan is gonna need therapy after this show.
It's not that bad at all, actually.
Welcome to the party.
Who's this crazy chick? I need to know who not to subscribe to. But you follow me on Twitter, so it's too late now. It's too late. We're friends. Whatever.
Well, you know what? Sometimes it's just best to be thrown into the deep end. Like sometimes my streams are like super laid back, and we talk about really serious things, and then sometimes they completely go off the rails, and it's fine. My first one was interesting because I kept trying to stop it, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Yeah, that first one was interesting, but we had a good time. Yeah. So thank you for hanging out, girl, because you have good takes. I'm the youngest child, of course. I'm a
A2, no!
Snitches get stitches, man.
Hail the Lore has got to go. Thank you so much, Hail the Lore, for being here. Again, I think this is your first time here. Thank you so much for hanging out this long. I deeply, deeply appreciate it. Yeah, sorry. My train of thought went off the rails.
You were talking about Tanith Lee.
Tanith Lee, thank you. Yeah. She's a really weird writer. The series that I read of hers was called Wolf Tower. And I mean, it was like when I read it, maybe I was 15. I mean, I've never done drugs, so I can't say, but I would assume that was what like being on an acid trip was. It was insanely weird.
The thing about that book is I think it came out in sometime. I'd say it's probably in the 90s because I'm not familiar with that. I was more familiar with the stuff from the early 80s, like Dreams of Dark and Light, and I think there was one about demons as women or something, and they were interesting because they were sort of collections of stories. But yeah, I mean, like I said, she was a B tier writer in my opinion, and then because I wasn't engaged with her writing, I didn't really know what the hell happened after those books in the 80s. You know.
Yeah, no, I looked her up because I couldn't believe it was the same author, and yeah, she definitely seems B tier, but definitely a good one. Okay, Roman of the Empire, gotta bail. Life stuff. Have a great night. See you on the interwebs. Thank you so much for being here, Roman.
Hail, brother. Hail, brother. Bye, brother.
Okay, so I think maybe we should switch gears a little bit because Megan did bring to my attention some good article. Well, not article. One was a tweet. I think that we should talk about this a little bit because I have not been on the Indiana Jones things very much, but then by chance, I have to show off what, okay, I'm going to be real honest. I love the bragging rights Jeremy, Dan, and I can't remember the other guy. What's his name?
Tommy. Tron.
Thank you. Tommy
Yes,
Tron.
I love that show.
Right? So good.
So good.
Look what I found for $5.
Oh my god.
There's only 3 movies. You need to remove one of those.
No, this is behind
This is why I love thrift
behind the
stores.
scenes.
Okay.
This is why I love thrift stores, because that's how I found the animated Hobbit on DVD. That's how I found the
I need to
Fellowship,
be
the
going
Two
to more thrift
Towers.
stores, man.
All of
I am
those
lacking
movies.
on stuff.
Not only that, but like both Conan movies and Red Sonja on DVD, and they were like $2.
Yep.
You know, I mean, like I've got too many used DVDs, but I have them. No one's taking them.
Well, the thing is like, again, I'm gonna bring this up again. That red Lord of the Rings from 1966. That is going for $250 on unused book sites. Got it for $40 because God bless the people at my thrift store. They didn't know what they had. They didn't understand how important that was.
But that's part of the problem now, is a lot of those people, especially, they used to do it in Seattle when I was there. They would go through and find really good stuff and then take it and put it on eBay. And it never made it to the shelves. It really didn't. So it wasn't like it was. I mean, that's not everywhere. You know, obviously, if you're in a more rural setting, you will come across gems. But because of the throughput, you probably won't have as many opportunities. But yeah, even the thrift stores are finding out what they got. I've seen that a lot with vinyl, with records. Through the
all the vinyl that mine is now behind the counter.
Yeah.
So okay, hold on. I have to ask, because I really have not been keeping up with this. Do you guys know? I thought this movie was supposed to come out this year. Has it been delayed?
So yeah, it's been delayed because Harrison Ford broke a thing, I think.
Yeah, like he broke a hip or something. He's just so old. How? He's like,
well,
also,
every single
90
movie he's
years
ever
old.
done, he's broken something though. Every single movie, like Indiana Jones and Star Wars, he's broken something every single time.
Yeah, and this man was a carpenter before getting his big break. So there you go.
That's true. Yeah, he was. He was supposed to just be working on the set of, right? Didn't he just was working on the set of Star Wars, and then George Lucas came up to him?
Yep.
Yeah, he was like, "Here, you want a part?" So I mean,
I think so.
I don't know what to make of Indiana Jones. Only that fourth movie was the biggest load of bullcrap I think I've ever seen in my life. I just don't understand, because didn't that one technically flop? I'm
Which
so
one?
confused about the one with the aliens and
Crystal Skull, the one where he hides from a nuclear blast in an old refrigerator.
Yeah.
Huh?
Thank you, Megan. Sometimes you don't need words; you just need some.
I mean, from the rumors that I've heard about this one, though, there's going to be not only aliens but time travel. So
that's what I've heard too.
Yeah, Die Glock and the famous Yahtzee Bell, which would, this would be a fantastic Indiana Jones story. Let me rephrase that. This would have been a fantastic Indiana Jones story instead of the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. This would have been a great Indiana Jones story 20 years ago. It is not a fantastic story when your lead actor is 80 years old.
Yeah.
It's not.
I mean, it would have, like, if the alien one had been done right, like, that should have been it. He handed off the quote-unquote hat to another generation, but also he handed it off to one of the worst freaking people on the freaking face of the universe to continue a freaking series. Just because he was popular in the Transformers that little bit of time does not mean he is a good actor. He was bad in those movies too. It was Optimus Prime that was the good one, but
and he fell out of Hollywood pretty darn quick. I don't know where.
Because he kind of went off the crazy train.
Yeah, he went
and
insane.
it makes you wonder what happened to him from a grooming perspective that maybe caused that. But we can't talk about those things, can we? Can't talk about those things. So, what did you show? Was there porn? What did I miss?
She showed skin, guys. Oh my!
Go back.
Wait.
You tell me. Wait, you say I derail streams and you're doing this stuff? Okay.
It's the photo I posted this afternoon, and it's I take artsy photos. Okay. Oh, whoops! I didn't.
Oh,
share.
that was hot. No, that was hot. I'll bring it up. It was actually really good. You know what it was? It was a very what's untoward about that? It's Alasia. She's an attractive, brilliant, mostly
flexing,
sane
guys.
woman, mostly sane woman, and she did a selfie, and it's like, that's cool, right?
Yeah. Well, and I just like, I don't know. I would like to get better at photography, and I try to
You're better than the only reason my photos are any good is because I have a freaking Google Pixel 6 and it has like AI learning, so it makes my pictures better for me. Like I don't even do anything. I'm just like, oh, look at this angle. Oh, it's already edited and like everything's done.
Wow. I used to take photography classes where we had to string and roll our own black and white film and then take
My
those
mom did
pictures
that.
and then develop them. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, guys. So yeah, Indiana Jones, directed by James Mangold, with, of course, let's be honest, this is going to be the Phoebe Waller-Bridge movie, but I hope I'm wrong. I hope.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. I don't really I just
also what happened to his kid?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
aliens. It was aliens.
It's always the excuse. It's aliens.
I mean,
bet you in the first 5 minutes, it's gonna be like, yeah, aliens abducted my kids, but he's okay, right? We gotta go do this thing.
Well, I have to admit, like, I like Indiana Jones. I do. I like Indiana Jones. I don't love it to the point of where some people love it. I think it's a good time. I will sit. Which one is it? Hold on. The Temple of Doom drives me batshit crazy. I just skipped that one because that blonde woman, if I could have killed that woman,
she's a little annoying. Yeah.
I would have.
Yeah, she's annoying.
She's so annoying. I just can't stand her. So I just watched the other two. And the fourth one was just like, even back when I wasn't aware of like the woke things that were going on, I was just like, this is a joke, right? This is a joke. They didn't actually do this. This isn't supposed to be serious, because I just thought it was so bad. So I don't have a whole very much of a dog in the fight of Indiana Jones. I'm just like, what Indiana Jones, like what they're doing and what Disney is doing with all these remakes, like the live action series of like say the Lion King and Aladdin and all that. And this is nothing shocking. We're all aware of this fact that Hollywood is artistically bankrupt. They have no original ideas anymore. So all they know to do is use their fancy technology to make an old person look young again because they know it's popular. So in my opinion, it's like, it's forget the wokeness. I'm just like, if that's literally all you can keep handing me, this is why I will say over and over and over again, there is room for independent content creators out there to now start putting their foot forward. Like, this is, if you have like something on your heart, like a video game or a movie or a book or a comic, I don't care what it is, if now is the time, because Hollywood can't hand us anything original, and when they do, it's full of politics.
Yeah. And the other thing you have to do is get on YouTube and be able to market yourself. And market yourself does not mean screaming in a room with a shitty microphone with bad lighting. It means bringing on other people to talk about your work. And because when you're an independent creator, you're not just selling your characters and your story. You kind of have to sell yourself. And it's not fair, but it is what it is. And the other thing that people do, and I've seen it really successful, and I think Adega Outlaw is who published his hardbacks are out now. The Evolution series, and he's a truly fantastic writer. This is a gentleman who is a trained jazz musician, just astonishingly good. And there are a lot of people in our space. It's just sometimes really hard to find them. And these are not mercy buys. You know what I mean? You're not just buying it because it's like you feel bad. There are some damn talented people, and Adega Outlaw with his book Evolution is absolutely one of them. You know? And I'm trying to bring that link up, and it's not working because Amazon is the devil. There it is. Yeah. And I know Adega Outlaw. Well, I know Adega Outlaw, but I don't know him. He's not a friend of mine. I'm not shilling for anybody. It's just that we say we want something different. We don't like the current paradigm, and here we are. You know, so his book is available right now. I know the ebooks will be available. If you want to have this signed, you can have it sent to his PO box. He will mail it himself free of cost.
That's awesome.
With a dedication. So I just want to shout out Adega Outlaw. Good.
That's awesome.
Guy.
That's
really
cool.
good guy. Yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
I'll drop that link in the chat. So
thank you. Well, and someone else to keep an eye on, their Twitter, is this man right here. keep an eye on his Twitter, because I know the things that are coming from him, and it's going to be insane.
Moderators, put links to his stuff in the chat.
Yes, please. Can you shout out, mods, if you can, get Abu Nas's stuff out? I would deeply, deeply appreciate that. Because that is the problem. I think that, like, you know, I wouldn't know who Ripa was if I wasn't tangentially, you know, kind of connected to Geeks and Gamers. Like, that's what frustrates me, is like finding these independent content contributors. And I know that, like, Quarter Black Garrett has friends who are writing books, and I'm trying to keep up with it, and just like it's following a thread. It's very hard. Like, I wish there was some place where we could all like put our stuff collectively and be like, hey, you know, I just published this thing, or I've put this thing on YouTube, or whatever it is. I do wish there was a better way to keep it all organized. But yeah, if you find an independent content creator and you can tell they're doing good stuff, I would latch onto that. Megan, do you have any like independent content creators you've found through like what it is you're doing? Because I know we all move kind of in sort of separate circles, but we all cross over. And so, you know, your people are not the same as my people. So like, have you found anyone that you really like that are doing stuff?
Actually, the Jinja Ninja and Roger Ryder, they have a show.
Yeah.
And he calls himself the Anti-Hero, and they're working on a comic book together. So Jinja Ninja is illustrating it, and Roger Ryder is writing it. Yes, and they had me on their live stream a couple weeks back Thursday, and I was like, "Whoa, this is so cool!"
That's
like,
awesome.
Yeah. So it was neat to meet those guys and see a little bit of what they're working on currently. But like, yeah, I wouldn't have found them. Like, it is really difficult to come across these people. Like, they're all over the place. They're out there, but it's really, really hard. Like, even whatever social media you're on, even trying to promote yourself or other people, just because of the way algorithms are, anything that is more mainstream popular is going to cover up the independent creators.
Yeah. Well, and it's also what I have found, you know, this can easily turn into a full-time job, because like, I know that I have to be on Twitter commenting on things, or I'm not going to build a community or relationship with someone. Like, there are YouTubers out there who I really like. I'm really bad about watching their streams, and I'm bad about commenting, but I want that relationship. So I'm trying to be more intentional. It's showing up in chats and being engaged with the speaker. Like, that can be hard because I'm an introvert, and like, you know, someone like Friday Night Tides, I will not get in that chat because it's just too overwhelming. But like, getting in Jay's chat or getting in Johnny's chat and like being intentional, if you want to build a community,
your chat too, Salty.
Sorry, I meant you too. I love everyone in your chat. They know me now.
What the hell am I doing here? If not, I mean, like, come on, Jesus.
You're the male representation we need on this female panel.
Hashtag Salty Lives Matter. Come on.
Okay, you know what? When I get my merch store up, that's going to be the first T-shirt I have. Salty Lives Matter.
That's what I want to hear. All right.
Salty Justice. Yes.
Hashtag Salty Justice, man.
That's my boy, Harley Dave. You got my back, brother. Thank you.
Harley Dave has always got your back. Salty got thrown under the bus real hard. I didn't mean to.
They backed it up to see what they ran over, and then they ran over me again. That's what
they're like. We're like, oh man, what was that? Go back. Let's see what it is. Boom. And then, it's just Salty. Let's go.
And I'm not whining about it. I'm just saying. Hashtag toxic femininity, hashtag Salty Life Matter. That's all I got.
How you just assumed my gender.
Yeah, I do that a lot. Because I have two fucking eyes. But yeah, you're right about that. So yeah.
Well, I mean, I think I said it last time. A lot of times, if people don't see my face, like just by my voice, people assume I'm a dude. So,
well, people are idiots. Okay. Anyways, what was I saying? Like, if you want to build a community, if you want to build something, especially in this world, you have to like treat it like a full-time job. Like, you know, I know that I've been bad about getting videos out on my YouTube, but I've also been working on Twitch, but also like making content for social media is like time consuming.
It is. Well, if you want a good, random thing. If you want a good a free social media manager, I use Buffer. I can send you the link later, but it just basically you attach a couple of your social media accounts and you make a post for either one, and it just does it for you, and you can schedule it out. That's what I do.
You please need to send this to me. That's amazing. a toxic green. Legion.
Dude, very well played. Let's get that trending on Twitter. I'll send it out to all my channel members.
We need to start memes. We need memes.
Oh, I'll be right back. Yeah.
Lord
yes.
have mercy.
Yes,
Oh my
but
gosh.
also kind of along the same line of like independent like creators and stuff. There are also people I find out every day who are like video editors, photo editors who love to just like promote people and do stuff like that, like different like I'm not gonna shout her out Kaylee, who I recently found out likes to edit videos. She is now going to be my new video editor because I hate editing videos so much. But yeah, like there are tons of people out there that just love to do creative things, and like that's why we're in this fellowship and community, and like, you know, just there are people have more passions than you think.
Real quickly, the Thad that shouldn't be says nothing for $10. Thank you so much. Thank you. I will give you this, sir.
If you want him, come and claim him.
I like that one. That one's awesome.
Yes.
Am I good? Yeah. I was trying not to copy all your clips, Salty, but I have to admit I got the Elrond one that I love so much. So sorry.
There's plenty of Lord of the Rings to go around for everybody.
Is the from Literary Soul Sisters, is the drinking game still going on for every time you say Elrond? So like once you say Elrond, everyone has to take a drink. I don't have any water on me, but yeah.
So yeah, okay. So I have to admit I have a small crush on Elrond. He's my favorite character out of Lord of the Rings. I have his sideshow character back there next to Arwen, and yeah, we he was in the chapter about Galadriel and Celeborn naturally because he marries their daughter, and like I went on this like meltdown about it because Elrond literally wrote that this man was too shy to tell a girl he liked her, and I was just like, oh my god, I love him so much. So yeah, we on don't judge me.
Small crush. Oh,
thank you. I can't point all these things out. You are keeping the balance. Thank you.
So anyways, sorry, that was a side trail. Yeah, if you want to see, if we want to keep that going, every time I say Elrond, take a drink, go ahead. I'll need to get a clip just for that. You guys have to hold me accountable. So anyways, well, like that's really cool. What?
Arcs.
I'm not dying of water poisoning.
This is a true thing. If you drink more than 6 gallons of water, like in an hour, you can drown in your own body. Don't ask me how I know that. I think it's true. Bourbon's okay.
Oh, man.
Bourbon's okay. It's the water you got to watch out for. If we're honest.
Punk, I am one of those freaks. I love both. So, Chris, judge me all you want. Okay, getting back to what Megan was saying.
Anderson.
Hush. Getting back to what Megan was saying, I'm so happy to hear that the Ginger Ninja is doing that. His artwork is mind-blowing.
Yes.
Speaking of which, you have really beautiful artwork too. I've been seeing what you've been posting. Girl, you got some talent.
I haven't painted in like actually quite a while. And then somebody tagged me and they're like, hey, now you have to like post for 10 days your art. And I was like, okay.
I guess.
And then I was like, man, I should start painting again. This is fun. Yeah.
Mando, check your DMs.
What are you up to, Salty? Are you causing trouble?
All I do is spread joy, Alasia. I don't know why you have to come down on me like this. I just, I'm just glad to be here. I'm just glad to be here. All I do is spread joy. What is the problem?
There's nothing. It's nothing.
It's not like there's something on your Twitter feed that I had anything to do with.
It's not. It's nothing.
Salty lives matter. I don't like either of you. You two, poor Megan. I was like, let's be wholesome. And then for introduction.
There we go.
To streaming.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's Elijah's spirit. That's what it is.
I don't care who this is. I want to be clear. No.
Oh, so you want more then? Okay. All right.
No, don't you dare. Fudgesicle. Okay. God, this stream, poor Johnny, not glad he left. Like, why am I here? I think Megan needs to see how an MVP stream to understand how out of control things get. Let's not.
And the other thing,
Megan,
Megan, there's another content creator.
Pure? I don't know.
No, I don't think. I don't
know. Where did the purity go?
Yeah. There's another content creator by the name of Wakazashi's Tea House. He does really great comic book reviews. I don't know if you know him, Megan. He's in Japan, and he's a friend of mine. We do some work together. I think you guys would have an absolutely fantastic time talking about comic books.
What's his name again?
I'll send it to you in a private chat because I can't even say it, so I'll just copy and paste it. So
here, I can get Gray's.
But yeah, in Max too. I think you guys, if you and Max and Gray started talking about comic books, I think you would crush it. Not that you're not doing well on your own, but just something fun. To do, because it's supposed to be fun. They tell me. So
yeah, that's the theory. Anyways, let me get Gray's if I can find it. Okay,
I'll take care of that. You run your stream, lady. I'll do your admin work. Don't worry
Thank you. All right. Well, we are approaching the 2-hour stream, and this has been a slightly different stream, but I hope you guys have had fun, and I hope the chat has had fun. Again, I so appreciate you all being here. Megan, what do you think of all this insanity? Did you enjoy it?
I did. I didn't feel like it was that insane. So
I'll try harder. We'll try harder next time.
Yeah, well, I'll crank up the craziness next time. I was being very reserved for you until the Silkies came out. Then I had to.
So next time, guys, I will have all really calm introverts on my channel, and we'll just sit here in silence.
Wow.
And sing the song of silence in the background.
Yes. Because that's what we'll be doing at the meetup. You're friends with Tugs, and if Tugs doesn't drag you around the meetup, I will. Don't you worry.
I'll
be like, hey guys, I found her. Here she is.
What'd you say, Megan?
They need to put like a little sign in the corner, like introverts meet here.
They really do, and it's like no talking. You just have to sit there.
I should do a
quiet down.
I should do a
zone to like get back in there.
I should do a gag version of that and say this is the Salty Texas Sea introvert zone, and let's see how long people last there. So
not long.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope we have shown you guys that there are a lot of great things out there. I'm thinking of doing this. Again, my birthday which I don't usually make a big fuss about, is coming up shortly.
You have to DM me that. You have to DM us that because we would like to get you something nice for your birthday. I think a sundress would be perfect. So,
and I know the perfect store to get one at.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes. Sitting in silence for the next stream confirmed. Yes, A2. We will do that. You know what? We'll just put on Fortnite. You can teach me how to play Fortnite. How about that, lady?
But I thought I was going to teach you how to play Fortnite.
Like, several people want to teach me. Look, it's going to take me a really long time to get good at Fortnite, so let's just all chill. I want to say one more time, because I had people here who were not here in the beginning. Since this is the last stream of the month, I will be taking all my donations that I received for the entire month of May, and I'll be taking from both my Literary Soul Sisters and this stream, and I will be giving 10% for this month to El Ranchitos de los Niños. They are an organization here in Albuquerque that keep severely abused children out of the foster system. These children are only up.
Very, 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 very good thing to do.
It is, yes, and they are only up for adoption. These kids are kept private. They're not, they don't have like pictures of them out on the internet. They come from bad backgrounds, and they don't split up families, which
they are not groomers.
Yes, yeah. And I've met the nuns who run this place. My mom has donated some artwork to them to help them raise money. I will drop their link in the chat if anyone would like to look into them, but that is where 10% of this month's, all your guys' donations are going. I deeply believe in tithing because when you guys bless me, I want to bless others. So yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that I am holding true to that promise that I made when I started streaming. And because of your guys' generosity, I know we will be giving a good, pretty penny to these kids who deeply, deeply deserve it. So I just want to say thank you guys for making my first month of streaming so incredible. I never thought that this would happen in 10 million years. I never saw myself in this situation. And for every moment that I get anxious and don't know what I'm doing and then like freak out and you guys still stick around, I can't tell you what that means to me. So just thank you for like introducing me to this world and making me feel comfortable.
I feel like, you know, entertainment is a thing that like everyone should be entertained.
Yes.
That's what I'm here for. I entertain you and make you feel better. Yay!
Yeah.
Also, apparently, what one of my friends told me is I have an SJW haircut, so I am considered the most non-SJW looking person ever. So I'm going to infiltrate all of the SJWs and be like, "Hey guys, here's some good stuff," and like convert them all.
There you go, girl. I misread that link. I thought it said Elrond at the beginning of it. No one's gonna believe me now. So anyways, all right,
I was afraid to click it.
Where that would go.
Alasia, check your stream elements for donations just as a reminder, because I might have been working the room a little bit. So yeah.
Okay, no, right now we don't. So we're all cut up there. So let's go around the horn. Again, this was a slightly different stream. I want to try different things. I don't want to always be complaining. I would like for us to come together and talk about things that we love. So again, where I was going with the birthday thing is I think I would like to kind of do that again. I don't know when it'll be because I'm not someone who celebrates on their birthday, but maybe a Saturday afternoon or my chills. Well, because it's Tuesday and that's your stream.
Oh, well, come on my stream. Just tell me when your birthday is and you can come on the show. I'd love that, Alasia. You tweet at me at all the time. You can tweet at me when your damn birthday is and come on the show. So.
Fine. All right. But
do you want me to tell you when her birthday is? Because I have it written down.
But you should also have your own stream because you got to double dip. You got to work the YouTube system. All right?
All right, fine. All right. Well, I'd love to come on your stream next Tuesday. That would be a lot of fun. Not next Tuesday.
Perfect.
I don't know when the 7th was. But in any case.
Whenever you figure out your birthday is, you just let me know and you can come on my stream.
All right, fine. Sounds good. So anyways, I want to hang out on my birthday with everyone. And I want to talk about things that we love. I want, I'm hoping that Max will be back, that we can have tugs, because she is dying to talk about Top Gun, which I need to see. Maybe I'll go see it before then. So yeah, I definitely think that I want to have more of these streams. If you guys have any suggestions, please let me know, because again, I'm used to the complaining side of YouTube. Talking about things we love, I think, is a little, at this point, it's almost new. Not a whole lot of people do it, and it's a different format. It's a different way of thinking. It's a different way of talking, as weird as that sounds. So if any of you guys have any suggestions, let me know. But let's go around the horn. Megan, my darling, thank you so much for coming on. I so appreciate it. And I hope we can have you back again soon. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me, actually. I was super nervous.
I know, girl. It's okay.
I'm so nervous to do live streams. And you're like the third live stream I've done, like been a guest on. I haven't done my own. So I was, yeah,
it's okay. It's all right. I was very nervous when I started too. You get it like Salty says, you every time it gets a little bit easier. So no worries. You did absolutely great. So shout out your channel, shout out your social media. Where can people find you and what have you got going on?
So you can find me on the Noob Reviews on YouTube, where right now I'm reviewing comic books, but I hope to expand more and review TV shows, movies, games. Cool. Yes. And then I have another YouTube channel I haven't done much with, but it's got more of my art and some modeling stuff. And then I'm on Instagram, and I have art and modeling stuff on Instagram, but I'm also on Twitter. So
what kind of art do you do? I don't want to derail a show, but what media or medium do you use?
I a lot of acrylics, but I've been moving into watercolors as well.
Let me bring up her
watercolors
stuff.
are fun. Watercolors.
Let me bring up some of her. Hold on, real quickly. Let's because again, let's shout out artists. I'm all about shouting out artists. So she is doing some acrylic. This is acrylic, yeah?
Yep. Yeah.
These are really beautiful. Yeah,
Thank
well
you.
done, girl. I really like these mountainscapes. You did something the other day, and of course I'm not going to be able to find it now because I'm under pressure, but your animals are so cute. But you did something so yeah, definitely go check her out because she's got this is this pottery?
Yeah, I broke a pot and the rim broke off clean around the top into like 3 pieces. And I was like, sad. But then I was like, I'm gonna paint this because just the curvature of it made such an interesting canvas, you know?
That's really cool.
awesome.
Very well done. Very well done.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So please go subscribe to her and check out her normie comic reviews. They are glorious. She's awesome. She's doing great things, and I'm so happy to have her voice on this platform. So please go subscribe to her. All right, Nando, my darling, what do you have going on? Where can people find you?
So I am unnamed Mando, and my channel is named The Untamable Life. I know there's still some confusion there, but I am The Untamable Life. I've been the one posting some links and stuff periodically. You can primarily find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/The Untamable Life, where I do streams on Mondays, Wednesdays, and some Fridays. And then sometimes in between, I'll do a couple of streams or I'll jump onto somebody else's stream. I'm kind of all over the place. I also have a YouTube channel by the same name, The Untamable Life, where I am getting back started and doing reviews of the Witcher TV series or Netflix series because I never watched it. I've only played the games. So yeah, and I'm also pretty active on Twitter. You can find me there. Let's see. My next stream is actually going to be tomorrow. I'll be playing Mario Kart around 7:30 Central Standard Time. And if you have a Pulse and you have a Switch and you have Mario Kart, you can play with me on my channel.
Oh my gosh. Let me real quickly just use the link to donate to El Ranchistas de los Niños. My grandmother was born in New Mexico in 1930. She would have loved your landscape art, Megan. Keep up the streams. Oh my gosh, Mike's
Yes.
Thank you so
I
much.
love this fellowship. I love that
Oh
we
my
have
gosh.
we're the toxic ones though. We're the
Yes.
toxic ones.
We're the toxic
Every time they say that, look at what's actually going on.
Mike's like tacos.
You know?
Thank you so much. You are amazing. Yeah, my grandmother was born in 32 in New Mexico in Pie Town. So that's incredible. Thank you. Those kids are gonna benefit so much from it. So thank you so much. Okay, so Salty, where can people find you? What you got going on?
You can find me. My channel name is Salty Texas C, and if you haven't checked out Snowdub's very hard R-rated puppet performance last night, I was abducted by puppets. And if you enjoy kind of a more, I would say, crazy adult themed puppet experience, you will enjoy last night. I also do a live show every Tuesday with Purple Valkyrie, usually Maxfield Von Priestley, but I think he's been eaten by bears. And then, of course, my co-host, Zach Seven, who is crushing it all in his own way with his own live stream called Night Owls. If you have not subscribed to any of myself, please give me a check. I also do what I think are some pretty cool videos on the woo-woo, UFOs, ghosts, Bigfoot, things like that. But of course, we do a lot of coverage around the Wheel of Time, Lord of the Rings, and anything that I am not completely burned out on, which is why I don't cover Star Wars and why I'm really done with Marvel, because I just don't want to rage anymore. I'm done. So I'm going to cover other things. So thanks for the invite. This was fantastic. I am so lucky to get to work with these incredibly talented people. And I mean this from the heart. You three women are fantastic. I appreciate your faith. I appreciate you letting me come on and sometimes make some sense and other times be an irrational moron. But I love this community. And I see more diversity of thought and opinion and acceptance here than I do in a lot of places. So I'm just really grateful for that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. Well, thank you for always agreeing to come on. You are turning into Mr. Popular, so I'm deeply grateful you make the time for me. So
I'd rather be Mr. Infamous. Can I be Mr. Infamous instead?
There you go. Yeah, you can be Mr.
Okay.
That's the verb I forgot, or adverb or adjective, whatever. Because I don't know if you noticed, every time I put a link, I put suave, I put handsome, I put intelligent. I was like, I gotta find all of these adjectives. I was trying to find adjectives for everybody as I was posting things. I'm like, man, my vocabulary is suffering.
It's so funny. All right, guys. Well, thank you all again so much for hanging out. I deeply appreciate everything. Next week, I will probably be announcing who will be on next week and our topics. Probably midweek next week. Just a quick reminder for Literary Soul Sisters, we will be on my channel on Saturday. We're finishing up the story of Galadriel and Celeborn, and we will be then getting into the disaster of the Gladden Fields, which I'm hoping is going to tie into Thranduil and his father, Oren, I believe his name is. I could be wrong, but in any case,
there's so many names. I get confused.
So in any case, so we will be talking to you then. And until next time, guys, thank you again, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.